Hello, it's Graham Wright from PHIUS. So today I want to tell you about our new retrofit building standard that we're working on that we're calling Revive 2024. This is our answer to the question of how to decarbonize all the existing buildings. How much do we invest in improving the buildings versus cleaning up their energy supply? How do we balance operating versus embodied carbon emissions? Our company vision statement is that every building supports the health of people and the planet. The expression of that in a retrofit standard is that yes, we're going to decarbonize, but not just by fuel switching. We should upgrade the buildings so that they can remain habitable in grid outages and are fortified against extreme weather. And we'll also remove and fix anything that is bad for indoor air quality. Because we're here for energy modeling, I'll concentrate on the modeled performance metrics. The idea for deciding the balance of investment question is to do a life cycle cost optimization, but with a cost of carbon brought into it. Essentially, one designs as if there's a carbon price. This should help clarify how much climate action needs to be subsidized some other way in places that don't have a carbon price. The metric also brings in a cost of the energy system transition, the grid decarbonization cost. This is tied to the peak power level that the building needs from the grid. There's a cost to meeting that peak demand entirely with stored renewable energy. So the 5 cost components are the direct energy cost, direct renovation cost, embodied carbon cost, operating carbon cost, and the grid decarbonization cost. We haven't quite decided which of these names we like better, ADORB or FCalc. There's quite a few parameters to decide about in such a life cycle calculation. Here are some of them. There's both a simplified and a detailed way of doing the embodied carbon calculation. Analysis period is 70 years, the carbon price $250 a ton, grid transition cost $2.82 a watt. So notionally, we look for an optimal solution that minimizes this ADORB cost, but we're going to do that subject to the constraints that the building stays habitable during a week-long power outage in extreme weather, both summer and winter. The winter outage criteria will mostly decide the extent of the building envelope upgrades. Almost the only heat sources recognized are internal gains from the occupants and solar. It's assumed that every building has on-site solar panels and batteries to run critical loads like ventilation, refrigerator, and telecom. The criteria for winter are that the pipes don't freeze and there are limited degree hours below 54 Fahrenheit in a standard effective temperature sense. For the summer outage, we do need to check 2 modes of operation: passive, which is operable shades and window night flush, and active, which is operable shades and solar-powered air conditioning. The criteria for summer are that there are 0 hours with the heat index in danger and limited hours in the extreme caution range. For health, we look to the EPA's Energy Savings Plus Health Guidelines. For site hazards, we look to FEMA and the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. They are the authors of the Fortified Standard and the Wildfire Prepared Home Standard. Lastly, I'll mention that the standard has a whole chapter of process requirements for quality assurance, and these are based on the ASHRAE commissioning standards and guidelines. Also, we're writing it in the language of an open standard. Our practice of it in our program will use our credentialed professionals, but the standard document itself leaves qualifications up to the authority. It could be administered by someone else. We also intend for the software engine that calculates the performance metrics to be open source, and we invite you to contribute. Thanks.